One thing that you're going to be dealing with when we're talking about wireless is access points. If you think about this in a more traditional networking sense, you may have a hub or a switch at the center of your network where all of the wires connect to. Well, the access point is really sort of the same thing where all of your wireless devices connect to this central point. And that's the thing that actually has all of the intelligence about what the network looks like. It really connects back to the wired network if there is one, and is the point where all of the network connections from the wireless sense actually run through this one device. Now, you may be familiar with wireless access points that look like a lot of different things. You can actually see some here. This is a Cisco wireless access point. This is a Linksys wireless access point. This one doesn't appear to have any antenna associated with it. This one, you can see a couple of antennas that are attached to it. Lots of companies make wireless access points. You can actually see a different kind of wireless access point down here and some little diagrams of what wireless access points would look like when they're plugged into the network. Now, when I connect, I have to have my wireless access point set up, and I can go to my wireless access point typically through a web interface. And you can see I'm connected here to a Linksys E2500. I can do a quick and easy setup just using the Cisco Connect, which of course came with my wireless access point. You will also see these wireless access points sometimes referred to as routers. Now, I want to be specific about this. This is called a router because there is a port on this particular device that allows me to go out to an internet service provider. And then, of course, there are components of it that connect to my local network. Because it's crossing networks, it's a router. If the only thing that I'm doing is allowing wireless devices to connect to it, really all it is a wireless access point. There are no routing functions that are taking place on this device. And this is something you'll see a lot with vendors calling these things routers when in fact they're not really performing routing functions necessarily, but because there is a routing component to them, they're often generally referred to as routing. From a networking professional standpoint, though, that's really confusing at a minimum to refer to it as a router because you really want to think about where the action is taking place. And if I'm just passing communications across my local area network, that's all happening at layer 2 of the networking stack, and nothing is happening at the network layer. And so there's no routing going on. It's all happening on my local area network. So you will see access points typically on networks. You may see multiple access points in an enterprise environment, and they may also be controlled by a larger controller that handles all of the different access points across the network. Cisco is one of those vendors that has a controller on the back end with lots of smaller access points that you may scatter through a single building or multiple buildings. But you'll commonly see something along these lines like this Linksys, or maybe even this Linksys here.